The original, I guess, concept, I tried several variations of where to mount the sensor. I know that the one modification said to use earplugs. I tried those. I thought they were kind of noisy. Personally, I didn't follow those directions exactly. I don't believe. I think there was supposed to be an extra piece of foam in here. Ultimately, what I ended up doing was taking the clear disc off of the. I guess I have one sitting around here. I took the clear disc off of here, and then I wrapped it up with some black cloth, and I taped it down into place here, and I put these on here, and everything seemed to work pretty decent. The only problem, if my heads didn't fray, I wouldn't be changing this at all. But since I was changing it, I decided to redo this, and because I believe that the fabric and holding this down here with the tape was dampening the vibrations to the sensor, making it less sensitive. So I'll show you what I did to modify that. Okay, so I took everything off of there, off the sensor. This is the original one. I know I did have a bad sensor, and I went up and picked up a replacement from RadioShek. The replacements, I guess they're just as sensitive, I would guess. I didn't put a scope on there to check it. But RadioShek carries this. That's $2 or something like that. I can't remember. It's pretty inexpensive for this part. Yes, this is a buzzer. It's not, but you have to rip the buzzer apart to get the sensor out. It's not too difficult to do, but you're going to want to be careful when you do it so you don't damage the next one. But I didn't have to do that with this one, so. So this fits pretty nice inside of this little indentation here on the drum. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some double-sided tape to tape right here and tape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just want to put a little bit of double-sided tape here, here, and over here, just to keep that in place. I'm not going to tape it down very snug. The tape that you see on the underside was only to keep the fabric in place. It's really not used in this circumstance right now, so it's not necessary to put that in there. Again, there's really nothing underneath there except for that. What you're going to probably also want to do is make sure you get these wires taped up. Tape them up out of the way, so that way they're not pinched anywhere and they're not vibrating. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. Alright, so what I have here is the plastic disc, and I have it taped down. I didn't tape it all the way around. I taped another one all the way around, and it just wasn't as sensitive as another one that I did just like this. Now that could be related to the tape, it could be related to the sensor, it could be related to how thick the foam pads were that I used that were to touch the head. Could be numerous different things. I just didn't want to dwell on it too long, but it wasn't that bad. So ultimately, this piece here, I just put a piece of cloth over top the electronics and hot glued it in place, just so, because the heads you can kind of see through them, and I just didn't want to see all that stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hot glue this here. You don't need to put 5 pounds of hot glue on here. All you have to do is just put a little dab just to tack it in place. The corner that I'm going to get should be touching right up to the center, and I'm going to put 4 of them like so. And when working with your hot glue gun, make sure you don't touch your other heads. Be very careful with it. Could be a costly mistake, could not be. Now the size of these, I mean, it could vary. It depends on how really thick you end up getting this. You're just going to see these are about an inch. They don't have to be exactly precise in how tall they are. You just want to make sure that when you put your hand across the rim here, that you're going to feel those pads. You're going to make sure if they're down too far, they're not going to touch the head, and then they're not going to be doing anything for you. So you're going to make sure that they're just slightly above this rim here. So when you compress the rim down, these have a pretty good seat against here. If you make this too thick, pushing it against the head, it's probably going to dampen this sensor and make it less sensitive. So I don't know. I guess there's a fine line of what, how thick that could be. Another thing that I do, and this is purely cosmetic, because I just don't want it to look sloppy when I was finished with it. I end up covering up the tape here that you see with electrical tape, just so you couldn't see those pieces through the head itself. Sure, you're going to see the sensor, but that's just one thing that kind of bugs me when I look at it. Okay, so now we're ready for our head. It might take a little bit of persuasion to get this on here. The other thing that I do, you can see the rings are not on the drums. When you go to tighten this down, these vibrate because you're not tightening it down as much. Looking back at the first one, I guess I could have hot glued these into place, but if you're doing this mod on this kit, my guess is you're already going to know what color is what, so I guess that's where that is. And whenever I have people over to play Rock Band, when we have our Rock Band parties, the lights are off anyhow, so I'm sure nobody would really notice that the colors weren't on there. It's going to be kind of hard to put this on there. If you're a girly man, you might not be able to swing or squeeze this enough to screw it in place. You might need the help from somebody else to help squeeze it for you, because it is rather because with that new rim on there, it's going to make it more difficult, and you have to squeeze it tighter. Of course, you can use a C-clamp if you so choose. Okay, those are tight, and I guess we can give it a test. Okay, seem to be working. Have a pretty and that's that. Pretty simple, and with this rim on here being protecting this head, I feel a little more comfortable letting people beat the crap out of it. So I just didn't think that the other heads would last as long, and I didn't like the unprotected rim there. So, all right, thanks.